It is so wonderful to be with you today. I am thrilled to contribute to HerStory. I was yesterday on as well, and I just love the energy of these wonderful opportunities that Gertrude has put together. And she is one of my favorite people on the planet, and I'm just so pleased to be here. So my mission in life is to help leaders get booked so that you can experience more joy, more success by attracting more clients. And there are lots of ways to do that. But in most cases, you're going to need to have to tell the world about who you are and why you are going to make a difference in their lives. And that includes things like speaker one sheets and the presentation that they introduce you with, and other places where you can use your empowering speaker biography. You can also incorporate it in radio podcast letters and introductory sheets. So it behooves you to really write a compelling biography that is going to get people excited about you. And so I'm here to share a little bit about that gift so that you can really be heard in the world just the way that you want to be heard and make the impact that you want to make. So a little bit about me. I have spent 30 years as a publicist. And in those years, I had one of the largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in America. Last thing I did was launch the worldwide poker phenomena. You might have remembered all of that. But one of the things that I have done over the years is generate over 10,000 radio interviews and speaking engagements. You know, my client list was a world-class client list. And in the last several years, I've really gone to focus on leaders who are making the world a better place. That is the mission of my agency. And the company that I created, Conscious Media Relations, to do radio podcast tours where I introduce authors to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts with a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews. And then with all of that much success, some of these leaders came to me and said, well, can you book me on speaking stages? And I thought, I don't want to do that, but I know where they all are. So why don't I just tell you where they are? And that's how Speakertunity was born. Speakertunity is the speaker and leader resource company. And we help leaders by providing them directories where they can get booked for radio shows and podcasts and virtual summits and virtual stages and live stages and TEDx's and even virtual networking. All of these different venues where you can get in front of people and then give you the tools to do that. Things like speaker one sheets and booking systems. We just simply make it easier so that you can get on stages faster with less research and less time investment and more profitability and changing more lives faster. So I'm also a best-selling author. So I've been on that side of the fence as well. I have 2 best-selling books in the Art of Conscious Creation. One was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show. That's just a little about me. But today it's all about you. I want to tell you how to write a knock it out of the park biography. And I'm going to give you a simple formula that's going to make it easy for you to do that. So the first thing I want to tell you is it's easier than you think. The biggest fear most people have is, how am I going to contract all of that I am and do into just these short paragraphs? And what do I leave out and what do I leave in? So I'm going to make sure that you really discover that it's easier than you think. And then here's the most important thing. For those people that are hesitant to speak about themselves, they might have been told, you know, don't brag about yourself. Nobody wants to hear about how great you are. Well, that's not really the case here. You have to brag about yourself. But the good news is you're writing your bio in the third person. So it's going to make it a whole lot easier because it's like you're writing about somebody else. And then writing this biography lets you be creative. It doesn't have to be rote. You can do some wonderful and fun things with it. And here's the most important, we're going to get into more detail on this next. It defines your benefit first. What benefit do you offer to this audience? And then it enables you, this bio is going to enable you to prioritize what's important, most important, in order, so that you can capture them right away. So what I was saying is step one, you have to make your biography benefit driven. What's the outcome for the audience? You know, when you are talking about your own credentials, that's great, but that's second. You have to make it very, very clear in everything that you're doing, your headlines, your summary, your biographies, all of your materials. What is it that you're going to do that's going to change the life of those people? This has got to be the most important factor that is going to get a booker to say yes to you. Otherwise, you're going to lose them in the weeds. So this has got to be job one. So you need to explain how the audience will grow, change, be inspired, and move forward if you're given the opportunity to present to them. And it's not about you. It's really about them. You have to remember that. So you have this little radio station should remind you, WIIFM, what's in it for me? You have to be able to explain to the booker what's in it for the audience member. Now, here's a simple way that you can kind of see how this plays out in sort of branding modifiers that people can develop for themselves. In other words, it's not just your name, but you can call yourself something that's going to imply the change that you're bringing forward, such as career freedom coach. You know, that tells you exactly what this person is going to do. It's going to help you create freedom. Chief fear slayer. That one's pretty obvious, isn't it? More productivity, less turmoil. Going to bring peace to your company and make it more successful. Change evolutionist. Boldness coach for people who are having challenges speaking up. The book shaman. Write your book in a weekend. Helping your audience get visible and get booked. All of these are summary statements that really point to the benefit. So let me start out by giving you 5 key questions to ask yourself. And when you ask yourself these questions, the main questions and then the sub-questions that I'm going to provide, it's going to really help you define what is going to go into this biography. That's the next step. How you answer these questions will create the content that we're putting in there. So the first question is, why you? So when you start writing, you want to really address each of these questions. So you can put them in order and then go back and we'll talk about what happens next. So, right, what's your mission? What is that mission that's going to be pertinent to this audience? This is all about why they should choose you over somebody else. And then what you teach. What is the content that is so enriching for this audience? Your specific expertise. What is it that you do that makes you unique and special and that you bring to the table that will enliven and enlighten this audience? Who do you transform? Who is your audience? You know, and of course, when you're pitching yourself, you really need to make sure that the audience you're talking to is the right one for you, the iconic audience of your clientele. Next, what are the results? What are some of the results that you've achieved that you can point to that are significant, that show this person why you're this a special expert leader that you are? Results tell the story from a standpoint of giving them an idea of where you're going to be taking them by showing them what you've done in the past. And then, why are you different? What makes you different than from every other leader in your genre? You know, I've heard people say to me 1,000,000 times things like, well, I help people alleviate their limiting beliefs, or, you know, I help people get to 6 figures. Well, that's not enough today. That is platitudes. You have to be much more specific about what makes you different and unique, your unique selling proposition. Question number 2, my story. What is your story that is going to be powerful? What have you overcome? What circumstances in your life have you had to go through and that you've risen above in order to be where you are today? And really, is that story the same story that the audience is experienced? I mean, it's great when they can identify you with you because they've been through it themselves. Have you had a business that collapsed and now you've managed to succeed enormously, or you've come through something terrible like sexual abuse, or you've had a PTSD, or whatever it might be? If you can show them the path, that's what they're going to really get excited about. And so your story must be part of this bio. And then what are your victories and the demonstrations of your success? What plateaus and mountains have you gotten to now at the top and you can see from below? And how has this informed your mission or teachings? How has this created this program, how have you taken this information and made a transformation that you can show other people the direction and the way to do it? And then how do you relate to this story, and how has it had a powerful impact in your life and your business? Question number 3, your background. What businesses have you founded or worked for, or positions that you've held? Clients that you've served in the past that will impress them? Specialized skill or a program that you've developed, something really unique and special, and that you've given it a powerful name, and it's a paradigm changing or methodology that you can really hone and explain in just a few words. And then your degrees and your certifications. What programs have you been through that you've been certified in, or degrees are pertinent to what we're talking about here, or impressive? I mean, obviously, anytime you've been to Harvard, that's an impressive, but you might have a specialty degree in human design, which is perfect for what you're trying to do. Question number 4, what are your achievements, your milestones, and your accomplishments that are pointing to how good you are at what you do? And it's great when you say that you're the author of. That always gives you an automatic credibility. What radio shows or podcasts and other media have you hosted or been on? But particularly, these are the ones that are yours, that you own and you've created. And then video, do you have a YouTube channel, and is it powerful and significant? Don't put it up here if it's not really built out, but if it is, you want to point to that. And then awards you've won, where other people have acclaimed you for what you've achieved. And then any related charities that you serve, if you're in a heart-based business and it's important for you to be seen as heart-based yourself. And the last question, number 5, is social proof. What social proof do you have that, in fact, you're the phenomenal expert that you are? Where you've spoken before is good evidence of that, especially if it's noteworthy companies or organizations. And who are your current clients? And when you can impress them with clients that they would recognize, and celebrities you've worked with. Anytime you get a celebrity testimonial or endorsement, or you can use their name because you've had an experience or worked with them, that really also brightens up and livens up your bio. And then media that has featured you. Have you been on CNN or NPR or any other really recognizable media that would make you really stand out? And then the size of your online following. Now, if you don't have a big following, this is not something to present. But we were talking yesterday, what kinds of numbers make sense here? So the numbers that would make sense are 20,000 or more of an online following. If you have more than 20,000 people, it's worth mentioning. And then numbers of any sort that are impressive. Whatever you're doing, whether you've made X number of dollars or, achieved this many, speaking engagements or whatever it is, if the numbers are impressive, you want to incorporate those. So I'm going to give you a simple biography formula. Give them each a number in order of priority, which are the most important to the least important. Go through that list that we just did and number them by priority. What are the most important things from your estimation that you want them to know and that will impress them? So let's recap where we go now that we've got them all prioritized. The first thing is you want to start your bio with a sentence about what you're bringing to the audience, the problem you solve. That is paramount. And if you can work it into that first paragraph, the second most important item in your list. And if not, well, that's fine. If you can only get the first one in, that's cool, as long as you get that first one in. But it's the start of the trend. Then we're talking about the mid-biography body copy. So next, select the next 5 top other priorities and work them into the next paragraph or 2. Make sure in this you reference your background or your story if you haven't made it part of the first paragraph. Make sure that this is going to really humanize you right at that point. And then you want to take the next 5 priorities and start working them into the subsequent paragraphs. So, as have you done this? And then you want to finish off with your social proof or your remaining milestones. These are the things that are not critical to the biography, but they make you look really good. And you might add them in just to make sure that you have that extra oomph. Now, when you're doing this, you want to use some really important, powerful adjectives, because one adjective can stand in for multiple words. When you use something like acclaimed program or insightful media or highly regarded or best-selling book or breakthrough program, all of these make you a cut above. Even if you don't necessarily feel comfortable saying that just because it's you, use these words, act as if, because other people will read them and understand the power of what you're bringing to the table. Now, there's 5 points of writing the bio that you should know. The first is you want to vary your sentence structure. You don't want every sentence to begin name, verb, name, verb. She did this, she did that, she did. You need to change the sentence structure so that it flows. And you want to alternate your name with your pronoun. So it would be, Mary Smith, then her or she, and then, Mary, and then her or she, so that it weaves in and out. And you want to start some sentences with clauses, which is how you change the sentence structure. And you want to use active verbs. You never want to be passive. You never want to start out a bio with, she was born with, and you want to start it with words that show action, and you want to carry on those use of those active verbs. Never, things like happened. You need will happen, and we'll talk about tense a little bit again. And then use descriptive adjectives, as we just talked about. And then here's the one about tense. You need to speak in the present tense. She is, she does, she has. Now, somebody asked me yesterday about whether obviously when in the past, when you've done something, yes, you need to address there that she did the, etc. But for the overall tone of the biography, it should be in the present tense. And then here's the most egregious grammatical problem that I see in bios and in writing of all kinds. And it's mismatched pronouns and subjects. So a company, let's say Google, is not a they, it is an it. Do not make the mistake of, because there are a lot of people in something, that it is, you use an adjective, a pronoun that is multiples. So make sure that your pronouns match. Now, your goal here is to create magic in 7 paragraphs or less. And I know you can do this. You can, with 7 paragraphs, you can reduce and increase if you want, but 7 is a great starting point. So here's a sample of a speaker one sheet. My bio on the left is actually a little, it probably could be broken up into 5 paragraphs there, but it gives you an idea. It could be a little bit longer than that on the right-hand side of the presentations that I do, and has a couple of testimonials. And a speaker one sheet is one of the most important things that you need when you're trying to get yourself booked. And by the way, this is something that service that the speaker one sheet design service is something that we at Speakertunity do provide to you. So I want to invite you to come on over and check out what we have at Speakertunity, the Speaker and Leader Resource Company. And please let me know if you've come from HerStory, because we'd love to, embrace you and welcome you and make sure that you're in our community. Speakertunity.com is where you find me. You can connect with me on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. There is my name on the right. And I invite you to connect with me, and I can help and explore what would be right for you within our family of services, whether that's individual regional speaker lead directories with up to 1,800 speaker leads in your market of choice, whether it's radio shows and podcasts or virtual summits, whatever might be right for you. I am delighted to connect with you and see how we might serve you. And then I wanted to let you know that I am doing a HerStory workshop in the next couple of days, and I wanted to invite you that. And it's 44 ways to seduce your client from stage, podcast, radio, virtual summit, and virtual networking. And what's great about this is once you get booked on anything, you really need to have a free offer on lead generation magnet that's going to get them excited and and make it irresistible, so that they really want to have a connection with you and you can get them into your opt-in list. But the usual, just a simple ebook or a consultation is only the tip of the iceberg. I'm going to open your eyes to 44 other ways to do this. So that's basically some of the useful information I wanted to bring to you, ladies, today. And I am happy when we go to the Q&A session to answer any questions that you might have. So I'm here to be of service to the HerStory community and Gertrude, and whatever you might need going forward.